What principle does candidate Perry, Governor Perry, use to decide whether we should go to war with another country?
Governor Perry recognizes, especially as someone who has proudly served in our military, that the use of our military forces needs to be our last option. It is not something he would ever do lightly, and his litmus test would be the vital strategic interests of the United States. Is this a case where we feel we have no other option but a military option? And so that would be his test.
What principle does he use to determine when our vital security interests are at stake and when they are not?
It's a case-by-case basis. I mean, there are obviously a wide range of vital national security interests. Obviously, when we are threatened, when we feel that there is a direct threat to our homeland, to our people, to our interests abroad, you can have, as I said, a range of issues that could rise to that level. But again, it would be something he would have to look at very, very closely, and there isn't a hard and fast rule that you can apply to every foreign policy situation. It's an issue where you're going to have to exercise leadership and judgment and realize that you are committing, our most precious resource by doing this, and is this something that is worth that price?
If another country is harboring terrorists that have attacked us, should we go to war with that country?
Well, I think you're probably talking about Pakistan.
Well, I'm talking about the reason why we went to war in Afghanistan.
Well, the reason we went to war in Afghanistan is that the Taliban had, of course, harbored the perpetrators of 9/11, and that when given the opportunity to hand over any additional members of al-Qaeda that continued to be in Afghanistan, they did not take that option. And after the, I think, brutal attack of 9/11, which all Americans would agree was something that required a major response from the country if we did not want to risk having that happen again, that certainly rose to the level of the intervention in Afghanistan in late 2001.
So that's the reason why we went to war in Afghanistan, because they had harbored terrorists that had attacked us, right? There wasn't any other reason, right?
The terrorists who perpetuated the 9/11 attacks, yes.
So if terrorists who have perpetuated the 9/11 attacks are harbored by another country, should we go to war with them?
Well, again, I think you're clearly moving toward Pakistan, and we, in that case, took the Obama administration approach, who are the administration in power at the moment, of going in and taking out Osama bin Laden.
But we didn't go to war with Pakistan, right?
No, the Obama administration did not go to war with Pakistan.
Should we have gone to war with Pakistan?
I don't think that we should go to war with a nuclear Pakistan, no.
So the only reason we didn't go to war, we went to war in Afghanistan, but don't go to war in Pakistan, is because Pakistan has nuclear weapons?
Pakistan has nuclear weapons, and they have also been, in many ways, a partner in the war on terror. I don't think that the situation is as perhaps black and white as that. No one in Afghanistan was giving us any intelligence assistance. No one in Afghanistan was participating in any way to assist us. They were actively trying to thwart us. There have been a number of occasions over the course of the last 10 years where Pakistan has offered vital assistance to the United States in the war on terror. Are they an ally like Israel, Great Britain? Obviously they are not. They are a very complicated relationship, made more complicated by those 60-plus nuclear weapons, which is something we simply cannot discount, the presence of those weapons. And it's another reason we should be very focused on the Iranian threat, because the last thing we want is to have to deal with another country that has that kind of arsenal that could do tremendous harm to us.
But Governor Perry was in favor of the invasion and attack on Afghanistan, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, couldn't we have just sent in special ops and bombed the hell out of their terrorist camps? Why did we have to go into Afghanistan and take over the country? Why don't we use the exact same method that we used later in Pakistan?
Governor Perry was not commander-in-chief in 2001, if you recall. That was George W. Bush, and if you'd like to question the invasion of Afghanistan, I think he would be the person to ask.
Right, but you said that he was in favor of that invasion.
He supported the president. He did.
Right, so if now he thinks the better way is just to use special ops, like we did in Pakistan, we could have saved ourselves 10 years of war if we had just bombed the terrorists in Afghanistan and sent in the special ops and killed bin Laden 10 years ago.
Well, A, we did not know where bin Laden was 10 years ago, and he was not in the same location that he is now. And two, this was, I believe, the Obama administration, if you recall, that ordered the Osama bin Laden raid. And so, again, if you'd like to question that policy, I would take that up with President Obama.
Were you in favor of the bin Laden raid?
I'm certainly in favor of bringing bin Laden to justice. That I think all Americans would agree on.
So you are in favor, so you agree with Obama, and wasn't that a more effective way to deal with the situation instead of invading the country?
Of invading Pakistan?
Like we did in Afghanistan. Well, I never understood why we invaded Afghanistan. We could have bombed the terrorist camps without a single American dying. We could have sent in the special ops whenever we found out where bin Laden was, if we didn't kill him with the bombs. And so, whoops. And so I don't understand why we spent 10 years and we sent so many troops there if we could have accomplished the same end the same way we did in Pakistan.
I'll tell you precisely why. We actually did take that approach in Afghanistan. If you recall, we did it in the 1990s under the Clinton administration after the al-Qaeda attacks against us. President Clinton ordered some bombing attacks. He attempted to assassinate Osama bin Laden, and what we got was 9/11. And I don't think that was something that after 9/11 this country was prepared to accept.
Okay, so the bottom line is sometimes you're in favor of invading a country when they have harbored terrorists that have attacked us like Al-Qaeda, and other times you're not. So what principle do you use to decide when it is right to attack a country that has harbored terrorists and when you shouldn't?
I think that you need to, as I mentioned before, very carefully assess each of these situations given a larger context, and then you need to exercise leadership and judgment. And I think that if you asked both President Bush and President Obama, they would have said that that's how they made their choices. I may not happen to agree with either of them, but I was not commander-in-chief in either case. Those are the policies that occurred.
So you don't have a clear principle that we would know in advance how you or Perry would make a decision?
Unfortunately, we don't have a crystal ball. I wish that we did, and so that we could tell you precisely how we would handle every crisis, because we would know both the knowns and the unknowns that would come up, and we simply don't. So,
I understand.